All right, people, this is lesson 8 for trombone. We're going to be talking about single eighth notes and eighth note rests. In lesson 7, we learned how the eighth notes divided each beat into two equal parts, the downbeat and the upbeat. Those eighth notes always appeared in groups of two joined together by a single bar, just like these two guys right here. These are eighth notes, they're always connected by a single bar like that. But what if we only want to play one single eighth note all by itself, like this guy right there? That means there also needs to be a single eighth note rest to take up the other half of the beat. This lesson focuses only on that concept and how they relate to the constant downbeats and upbeats in every measure. This first note is an eighth note E, this guy right there. Notice that the bar that once connected to it to another eighth note has curled up. Notice we've chopped off this eighth note right here for this one right there. And that little bar that once connected it to another eighth note has now curled up into fetal position because of loneliness. Maybe not. But this is an eighth note all by itself. You've got an eighth note, and these two together, this little eighth note and that eighth note rest, it looks like a little deformed seven. This comprises all of beat one. We play on the downbeat of beat one, we rest on the upbeat. Or in other words, we play on the first half of the beat and we play and we rest on the second half of the beat. Half beat of sound, half beat of silence. Play on the first half, rest on the second half. And that means we'll go down, rest. We go right into beat two. This quarter note rest lands right on beat two. So there's not much time that takes place here. So it's down, rest, three, four, one and two, three, four, one, two, three, four, one and two, three and four, one, two, three, four, one, two, three and four, and one, two, three and four. One, two, three, four. All right. So, like we said, this single eighth note only takes up the first half of the beat. We rest on the second half of the beat. All right. So now below in exercise 2, you'll see the strange sight of eighth notes reaching around the despicable eighth notes that have tried to come between them. It's still eighth notes right here, but that eighth note rest has bumped this guy, his partner, over to beat 2. So we're only playing on the downbeats, resting on the upbeats, playing on the downbeats, resting on the upbeats. These errors represent downbeats and upbeats and so forth. So sometimes you'll see it written that way. Sometimes you'll see music notation written with an eighth note followed by an eighth note rest. Then there'll be another eighth note rest. But then again, other times you'll see it written this way right here with an eighth note, still the bar connecting, even though you've got eighth note rest in between the eighth notes. So you look at this and you just, with your mind, you just take a picture and say, so I'm going to be playing on all the downbeats. I'm going to be resting on all the upbeats. I know there's four beats in the measure. So I'm going to go one, two, three, four, like that. And if you count, you can just kind of take a picture of this with your mind and then play the measure while you look ahead to this next measure. And in this next measure, we have two eighth notes, same old stuff. One and two, three, four and one and two, three, four and one, two, three, four. So notice right here, we're playing on the downbeat, rest on the upbeat, play on the downbeat, rest on the upbeat. But then with these two quarter notes take up the whole beat. So it's three, four, they're sustained. Um, then right here, you can take a picture with your mind of this whole measure. We're playing on the downbeats, playing an E on the, an F on the upbeat. So we're playing an E on the downbeats, the lower note. And the way you'd play this measure, notice, and I got this concept from Ed Sueda of how you play your downbeats on a downbeat and you just lower your slide for the downbeats, raise the slide for the upbeats. Like whenever I play a downbeat, I lower the slide down to kind of help me feel that I'm going down for the downbeat, move the slide up for the upbeat. One and two and three and four and that's another reason why I chose these pitches. But one and two and three and four and again, if you just say you count in your mind, one and two and three and four and you don't have to look at with your eyes at every last little note head right here. You can just say, I'm just going back and forth between those two notes. And all I got to do is go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, right? If you're counting, you can keep track of where you are and when you finish the measure. So, and then this next measure is 1, 2 and 3, 4 and, because here's beat 1, right here starts beat 2. So it's 1, 2 and 3, 4 and 1 and. So you just got to know, here's like beat 3 all by itself, these two together. You're just resting on the upbeat instead of playing a note there or holding this note through as a quarter note. All right. And the same thing right here. This is the same as this measure right there. All right. Now let's look down at number 3. Uh, as I say, exercise 3 below opens up a boatload of cool rhythmic possibilities. So right here, and you'll see what I'm talking about. We're just playing straight eighth notes here. I mean, straight quarter notes here on beat in the measure 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now in this measure, the cool measure, we're going to rest on the downbeats and only play on the upbeats. Rest on the downbeat, play on the upbeat, rest on the downbeat, play on the upbeat. So it'd be like dum, 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 dum. In your mind, you're going to 1 and 2 and, right? So, and you've maybe seen people dance. They'll go, hey, hey, ah, oh, it's your birthday, ah, whatever. Okay. So they're just, what they're doing is emphasizing the upbeats. They're resting on the downbeats and they're dancing and saying something on the upbeats. Hey, oh, ah, right? So you got to feel that, duh, duh, duh. When your hand or your foot tapping on the floor is at its highest point, that's called the upbeat. And you got to be able to feel that, because if you know where the upbeat is, you won't rush the next downbeat. So the way you'd play this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and, let me reposition my mouse, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. So this is cool right here. Now, and like I say right here, to keep track of where you are, you just need to count to the 4 beats in each measure. And when you're resting on the down beats, you just count those beats softly and say the and louder, like up here, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, right? That's what I did. So now number 4, starting off with the downbeat, we're playing that lower E natural in second position on the downbeat. And here it's written out the way you'd count it. 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's how that one flows. And then number 5, here's our crescendo symbol right here. And so we're going to start soft and crescendo. Normally, when you see a crescendo, it won't see the words "start soft." I'm just doing that to kind of train you to when anytime that you see a crescendo, you automatically just drop your volume level, get softer, and then crescendo and start playing louder. Because a lot of times, if you try to if you're already playing loud and you try to play louder, you just sometimes the tone quality suffers and it's just not as effective. If you can get very, very soft, it makes your crescendo even more dramatic. So just get used to anytime you see this symbol, automatically drop your volume and then crescendo. So here we go. This is the B flat in first position. Remember, it'll sound like this. Right? So the first couple of measures of number 5, you'd go 2. Now, let me break it down again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4, 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then this one is pretty cool because here we're jumping in on an upbeat. We're resting on the downbeat of 3, playing on the upbeat of three. So it goes 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. So let's back up, and I've got a backing track that I've recorded that will be available later on when I get my website up and running. Um, so I'm going to play it, and then I'll be able to point, since I'll be on the backing track that I record. I'm playing drums and bass guitar, and I'm playing trumpet and trombone, so that you can hear your part, and I'll be able to point with the mouse all at the same time. So let's see how this is going to work here. Let's ready. Lesson 8, exercise number 1. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, go. Exercise number 2. 1, 2, ready, go. Exercise number 3. 1, 2, ready, go. Exercise number 4. 1, 2, ready, go. Oh, yeah. I like that one. Exercise number 5. 1, 2, ready, go. Exercise number 6. 1, 2, ready, go. All right. So hopefully that will help you to make a lot of sense on how to feel these downbeats and these upbeats, these eighth notes and eighth note rest. So important. So hopefully you enjoyed lesson 8. And this is kind of typical. Lesson 8 is kind of typical of the way the rest of the method will be flowing. And of course, I'll be adding in band arrangements that are level appropriate as we move along as well. So a lot of cool stuff that's going to be taking place and coming your way.